Today, we bring you a heartbreaking and emotional story from the world of hip-hop. It's about a mother's pain, a music legend's mysterious death, and secrets that may finally come to light. Before she passed away, Voletta Wallace, the mother of the notorious B.I.G, also known as Biggie, was still crying for her son. She once said she cried like a baby just listening to his music. She didn't just see Biggie as a famous rapper, she saw him as a talented young man, and more importantly, as her baby boy. She remembered a moment when she rested her head on the stereo and just cried. She called it therapy. She said Biggie's voice was beautiful, and the way he put words together made her proud. Even though she loved him as an artist, she loved him even more as her son. But Voletta didn't just cry because she missed Biggie. She also carried a lot of pain and questions about how he died. And here's where things get serious. She believed that the people closest to her son might have had something to do with his death. That's a shocking thing for any mother to think, but even more shocking when she believed one of those people was Diddy. That's right. According to what people are saying, Diddy may have tried to silence Voletta because she was getting too close to the truth. There were rumors that Diddy didn't want her digging too deep into Biggie's business or his death. And she wasn't the only one who noticed strange things. There's a man named Gene who was close to Biggie. He said Big once told him, "I'd take you with me, but you love him, Diddy, too much." Gene was confused because he didn't think Diddy was helping Biggie like a real friend should. In fact, Gene even told Biggie he was broke. He said Big owed someone named Mike Gadget $30,000 for the music system in his truck. But Biggie wasn't worried. He said he was about to get paid, and he showed Gene a contract. That contract was a big deal. It had the names of artists like Charlie Baltimore, Cameron, Lil Cease, Lil Kim, Junior Mafia, and others. The contract was worth around $62 million for several years of music. That's when Gene said, "Damn," because it was clear Biggie had big plans to do things on his own. And that brings us to Faith Evans, Biggie's wife. Voletta Wallace, his mum, never fully trusted her. There were whispers that Faith didn't truly love Biggie. Some people even believed she actually wanted to be with Tupac. Yes, Tupac, Biggie's so-called rival. People say Faith married Biggie but had feelings for someone else. She wanted Grammys but ended up writing songs for singers like Mary J. Blige. Some even called that hilarious, pointing out how far Faith had fallen from her dreams. Fans online say she settled for fame, but her heart wasn't fully in her marriage with Biggie. As we continue this heartbreaking story, more dark secrets are beginning to come out. We already talked about how Biggie's mum, Voletta Wallace, never gave up trying to find out who was really behind her son's death. But there's even more happening behind the scenes that makes this story even harder to believe. Let's talk about Biggie's plans before he died. One thing that's become very clear over the years is that Biggie was ready to leave Bad Boy Records, and the person running Bad Boy was Diddy. Biggie wanted more control over his own music and career, and he didn't want to be tied down to someone he may have stopped trusting. But leaving Bad Boy wasn't going to be easy. Diddy didn't want to let Biggie go, not without a fight. According to a Rolling Stone article, people who worked close to Diddy said that he and Biggie were never really that close. They weren't best friends like some fans thought. Instead, Diddy pressured his workers to push Biggie's music as fast as possible, even after he died. That's right. While most people were still mourning Biggie's loss, Diddy was busy making sure Biggie's album Life After Death reached #1 on the charts. He didn't show signs of being heartbroken. In fact, some people said he looked obsessed with making the album sell. It was like he saw Biggie's death as a business opportunity. There was even a moment when Rolling Stone wanted to do a big feature about Biggie to honor him. That would have helped protect Biggie's legacy, but according to Kirk Burroughs, who worked with Diddy, he didn't want that. He wanted the magazine cover for himself. Kirk told Diddy, "Let's make it about Biggie. You'll have your chance later." But Diddy said no. He wanted the spotlight. He was about to release his own debut album, No Way Out, and wanted himself on the cover. That's why, in 1997, instead of seeing Biggie on the front of Rolling Stone, fans saw a smiling Diddy under the title Puff Daddy, the New King of Hip Hop. It gets worse. 2 years after that cover, Diddy admitted something shocking in an interview with Rolling Stone. He said Biggie's death made No Way Out sell even more copies. He didn't say it with pride, but he said it anyway. According to Diddy, around 2 million out of the 5 million copies of the album were sold because of Biggie's passing. He said, "That doesn't necessarily feel good, but that's the reality." This makes people wonder, did Diddy care more about money and fame than about his so-called friend? And why did he seem so eager to push his own album right after Biggie was gone? But there's another piece of this puzzle. It turns out Diddy might have also been jealous of Biggie's relationship with Tupac. Before their beef got out of hand, Biggie and Tupac were actually friends. They respected each other as artists, but Diddy wanted to be close to Tupac too. The problem? Tupac didn't like Diddy. He didn't respect him. Some people now believe Diddy might have helped start the East Coast versus West Coast drama. Kirk Burroughs said Diddy was the one who pushed Biggie to release Who Shot Ya in 1995. That song was seen by many as a diss toward Tupac, especially after Tupac got shot. But Biggie didn't want beef. His mother, Voletta Wallace, always believed her son and Tupac cared for each other. She thought the fight between them was fake, something forced on them. In this next part of our investigation, things get even deeper. Voletta Wallace wasn't just guessing when she said her son's death was part of something bigger. She had reasons. And one of those reasons came from inside the very system that was supposed to bring her justice. Voletta believed there was a major conspiracy, and it wasn't just between people in the music industry. She was sure that the LAPD was hiding something too. In fact, she said it clearly in an interview. She believed the police knew exactly who killed her son. They did the investigation, they got the facts. But they didn't move forward. She didn't understand why. Why hadn't they arrested the person or people responsible? Why was everything being kept quiet? Voletta called it a giant conspiracy and said someone was definitely being protected. She said, "There is no closure for me until that person is behind bars and sentenced." She wasn't the only one who felt this way. When she joined the movie project City of Lies, which is about the LAPD corruption around Biggie's murder case, she did it to speak up. She said she wanted the truth out, even if it took 40 years. She believed powerful people didn't want to be exposed. People in high places who were protecting dirty cops so they wouldn't lose their jobs or retirement money. Voletta also spoke about Russell Poole, the former LAPD detective who tried to get to the bottom of the case. She said he died trying to reveal the truth, and his wife believed he died of a broken heart because of how much corruption he saw. Russell wanted justice. He wanted the truth. But all he got was lies, silence, and cover-ups. She even told Entertainment Weekly, "As long as I have life, there's hope. I'll never give up." But she also said something else, that when she's gone, she hopes her friends and family will continue the fight. Even though Voletta never named names, fans and people close to Biggie could feel what she was saying, and many believed she was pointing at Diddy. Rumors were everywhere. Rumors that Biggie wanted out of his deal, that he was standing up for himself, and that Diddy wasn't happy about that. Some even whispered that maybe, just maybe, Diddy knew more than he let on. People began asking scary questions, like how did the shooters know where Biggie's car was parked? Was someone from their own group giving away information? Why were there more than one group of people trying to harm Biggie that night? That led to another shocking thought. Maybe Faith Evans knew something too. She always defended Diddy, even though others around Biggie said he never really trusted her. Jaguar Wright, a fellow artist, even said Faith was one of the biggest snakes in Biggie's life. She claimed Faith didn't even know who the father of her baby was, Tupac or Biggie, because she was with both at the same time. There were even rumors that people at Death Row Records caught Tupac and Faith in the studio being romantic. Some even said there were pictures. If Voletta Wallace saw or heard these things, it must have been like living through her son's heartbreak all over again, especially knowing that Biggie's wife might not have been on his side. And now we're left with a burning question. If Voletta Wallace believed Diddy tried to silence her, what exactly was she getting close to? Stay tuned, share, like and subscribe, because what comes next might finally connect all the missing pieces.